King Charles III's National Day letter said, "It is with great pride that I reflect on the many achievements of the people of Gibraltar. I know that we will continue to collaborate on climate change and sustainability, and I commend your continued efforts to find innovative and long-lasting solutions to complex issues such as the development of Gibraltar's 25-year environment plan, which places sustainable development goals at the heart of creating a greener, more sustainable and low-carbon Gibraltar." And we're joined now by the Minister for the Environment and Climate Change, among other responsibilities. Good afternoon to John Cortes.
Hello.
Talk us through the moment that you learned the King had praised the government's 25-year environment plan.
Let me just take a moment to congratulate Father Charlie, my friend and the friend of all of Gibraltar. Obviously, there'll be formal statements later, but I couldn't miss this opportunity. I've already sent him a WhatsApp, but he's been too busy to read it. But I think we're all very, very pleased. Okay, so if you remember, there was a similar message last year in His Majesty's letter. And it was wonderful to hear this again. I think that everybody knows the King's commitment to the environment and to internationally pushing the environmental agenda, which is particularly important when we see that a certain amount of pushback from those who are made uncomfortable by recognizing the threat of climate change. So it's really, really gratifying that he should once again point out the importance and recognize the efforts that we are making.
Okay, so the plan itself has some targets. Some of them might be considered quite ambitious. For Gibraltar to be carbon neutral by 2030. Are we on track?
We're not yet. And I do recognize that the target is, and the targets are ambitious. I would rather have ambitious targets and not quite make it than, waffle through without any ambition whatsoever and then just make an excuse that we are making no progress because we don't have those targets. So there is a lot of work to do. I think that increasingly people are aware of our targets. But remember that the 25-year plan is not just about carbon. It's about sustainability as a whole. It's about nature protection. It's about pollution. And we are making inroads, but clearly we've got a lot of ground yet to go. But if we don't have a target, if we don't have an aim, if we not have a finish line, then we're never going to make it. We'll never finish the race.
But I suppose getting praise from the King gives you that extra incentive if you say that you're not on track, incentive to get back on track.
Yeah, absolutely. When I say I'm not on track, we are on the right track. But because the targets are so ambitious, it's going to be a challenge to meet them on that date. But I'm still optimistic. I think that the support from His Majesty is something that everybody needs to listen to. And it shows that what some of us are saying and the importance that a lot of us now increasingly are giving to matters of environment and climate change is important at the highest level in our kingdom and obviously around the world, because he is our head of state and other people around the world look to the UK still for leadership in environmental matters.
You mentioned pollution is also part of the picture. The target, one of the targets, is to reduce emissions by 50% by 2035. Are we on track there?
I think we are certainly making progress. We have quite ambitious plans for renewable energy, which includes solar and other. We are making progress in the transport sector by improving the fuel, for example, of our buses, by using alternative fuels. We are encouraging hybrids and electric vehicles. And we're also working with the other industry that uses fuel, like the shipping industry, to improve that. So that will help. Already, as we know, LNG produces much less carbon than diesel, but we have ambitious plans on renewable energy.
How does the data center that was recently announced, how does that fit in? Can I ask you for your thoughts generally on that project?
Okay, you'll see from the schematics that have been produced that there's a lot of greenery there, which is always good. And we have a few plans for greening up the rest of Gibraltar, which we will be announcing soon. Also, it is not reclaimed land. It's some distance from the shore, so it will not impact significantly the marine life of the revetment on that area.
Some distance from the shore?
Yeah, it's on stilts.
Oh.
It's on stilts rather than reclaiming and covering the existing revetment where there's quite a lot of marine life, including the rare limpets, which everybody laughs about, but they are important. And the plan is, and this will be announced, to use almost entirely renewable energy. So that would not impact negatively on our carbon footprint.
We don't know yet if that's to be imported, Morocco, Spain.
These are things that have been spoken about, so I'd rather not go into any detail now, but certainly I would have been very uncomfortable if we would have been relying on burning fossil fuel, but that's not what's going to happen.
And some concern by or among nearby residents, what would you say to them as the Minister for the Environment?
I think that when you look at the plans without looking at the detail, clearly you're concerned. But I think that this will actually improve the surrounding area. These green areas, which will allow for recreational space for walking in the evenings or in the morning. I think that once it's ready, there will be actually an improvement to the environment there. Although clearly, like everything else, while the construction is going on, there might be some inconvenience, but it certainly won't be the type of inconvenience that there would have been if they'd been putting rubble or other material into the sea for reclamation, because that's not the plan.
How are you and the cabinet more generally going to ensure that economic growth is consistent with those sustainable development goals?
Well, I think that is critical, and I think that the government has proven through the years of having a real concern for sustainability. I think that the example that you gave of the new data center shows that we're greening the area, we are not going to negatively affect marine life, and we're looking at renewable energy, and that is what's at the bottom of all the decisions that we need to take. So I'm confident that this is the case, and I think that it does give the argument a lot of strength when His Majesty the King, for the second day running, praises this, congratulates us on it, and of course on the seagrass project, which you dealt with yesterday. So that's all great fun. But I think it's really serious, and we really have to take a big account of the fact that His Majesty is pointing this out, because that is really what has to drive all policy in the future.
Yeah, we have to get on track, sí o sí.
Sí o sí, yeah, absolutely. Totalmente contigo.
All right. Thank you, Environment Minister John Cortes. And we're pretty much out of time, but I wanted to ask you very, very quickly, was Tuesday potentially the last half day ever in Gibraltar? Potentially.
We still have to finalize our plans, discuss them with the profession and with the teachers' union, who I think will be in here shortly. So that could well be the case, but we've got a little bit more work to do on that.
All right. Thank you for your time, John Cortes.
My pleasure, always.